Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to have a quick look at the understanding questions in the higher paper. So remember, obviously, if you're doing National 5 there's different videos for this part on a different playlist, but if you're in the higher class, let's have a look at the kind of questions that will come up that are designed to test your understanding in the close reading. So we're basically making sure that you can read something and understand the meaning of the words, that you can sort of take out the intended meaning from the author, and you're going to be asked to do things like summarize information or identify points being made, something like that. What you'll see in the questions will be the words, use your own words or in your own words or some variant on that, which means that there shouldn't be any quotations at all when answering the understanding in your own words questions. You're going to get a mark for every individual point that you make. So if, for example, there's a question that's asking you to identify 3 key arguments being made, then that'll be a 3-mark question, and you'll put down 3 bullet points each with one of the arguments, but turning it into your own words. So we'll have a look at an example here, and I'll show you how you might answer just this one example just quickly. It's the kind of thing you need to do lots of practice with to get good at, but I think it's helpful to just see one clear example right at the start. So the question directs you to lines 1 to 3. You can only get the answer for this from lines 1 to 3. So you might find something that you think looks relevant outside of the boundaries that you've been given. Even if it is, you wouldn't get the marks for it. So you need to just look at the lines that you've been directed to, and in this case you're being asked to identify 2 ways in which the invention of the printing press was important from those first 3 lines, from the word Gutenberg down to settled truths. So what might that look like? So ways in which the invention of the printing press was important. Well, here's what I've gone for here. So, the material produced by the printing press became the dominant means of gathering and sharing knowledge, and the uniformity of approach meant people were able to trust how reliable all that printed information actually was. What I just want to show you here is where this information's come from, so how I've lifted it out. What you can basically see, it says Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1440, and then you've been asked why it was important. There are 2 sentences after that. Each sentence probably could be split into 2 realistically, but what I've gone for is, there's my first bullet point, this thing about it being the dominant means of gathering and sharing knowledge. That's me referencing the thing about it being the main form of information over a 500-year period. And the second part is, talking about the uniformity of the approach means people can trust it. I've got that from the second sentence. So knowledge was primarily delivered in a fixed format. That's the uniformity of approach, and that encouraged a belief in stable and settled truths, basically because it always looked the same and people got used to the regular format, then they started to trust the things that were printed there. So as I say, you need to do a lot of practice on the close reading and on the understanding questions in order to get good at doing this. You need to read a lot so that you're used to this kind of material as well. But I think, from what you can see here, it's a relatively clear presentation of how we're going to go about answering these questions. It doesn't need to be written in paragraphs. I'm not after anything like that. It just gets in the way. There are 2 marks available. There are 2 clear statements that I've made there that are nice and straightforward, that link to particular parts of the text and which are in my own words. So we'll go on to look at more examples of this later on, and we'll look at different kinds of questions, but as I say, just a good way to give you an introduction to how you might approach the understanding questions in the higher English reading paper.